And you have nothing to hide.
Nothing.
Put the knife on the table.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am Jarrell of NocBro Nation, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 6, Who Are You Now? This was an amazing episode. There were so many comic comparisons in this episode. Some were exactly the same as the comics. Others have been tweaked, but either way, absolutely amazing. So as you guys can tell, it is just me today. Josh is out of town for work this week. We are going to be having videos coming out this week. There will be a few just with me, but we have already pre-recorded some videos for you guys for this week. So anyway, let's get into this episode. So big things right off the back that we got to see a diabolical Carol. We got to see a new relationship. We got to see Negan. And we got to see Rick and Michonne had a son. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new kid on the block, and his name is RJ. We get to hear his name is RJ. I did hear reports that they didn't say his name, but she clearly says his name is RJ, which I assume is going to be Rick Jr., which is absolutely amazing. So the kid is actually, 6 years old. So let's get into it. First off the bat, as you guys know, there's been a time jump. About 6 years that it's been confirmed. So 6 years have gone by. Michonne, I love the opening. Michonne is talking to Rick. She is at the bridge at kind of like a self-made, probably grave site that they may have done for him. But she's talking with Rick. And we're kind of seeing, little scenes of Daryl and, Carol at the Kingdom and Michonne and just the group surviving, talking about how, when things seem to get low on themselves, when things seem to get dire, they never give up. They continue to strive. They continue to move on. And Michonne is basically telling Rick, I am never going to give up. I will always be here, and I will, keep pushing on for you. One of the big things here is, the introduction to Magna's group. So as you guys know, Magna's group is pulled directly from the comic books. The only major change is Kelly, the short-haired female, is actually a male in the comics. And Connie, the real-life actress of the show, she is actually deaf, so that's why, she's speaking, doing sign language and stuff. So Magna's group, Judith pulls in Magna's group. She eventually links up with Aaron and Rosita and Laura, and they're like, yeah, this is against protocol, and Eugene, this is highly against protocol. Michonne's not going to go for this, but Judith basically says, if this group doesn't come with me, I'm not going, because they need help. There's another person that needs help too. So they bring them all to Alexandria, and Magna's group is absolutely amazed about this community. They're surrounded by walls. They're seeing a huge windmill, which is basically done. Excuse me, guys. I'm dealing with a cold here. So they're seeing the windmill is done. They're seeing solar panels. They're seeing crops and families, and it's absolutely huge. And, they're so absolutely amazed by it. And then Michonne comes in, baller. She gets off that horse, and she's just walking down all brute and shit. She was pretty hardcore, guys. And so she's wondering why these people are here. Aaron tries to say, well, it was his call, but Judith immediately steps in and says, this was my decision. I asked them. I told them that they're coming here. They needed help. And one of the other savior guys is actually the one guy with the beard. He actually stayed with them. I figured that he wasn't going to stay because he was going to be on Jed's side, but absolutely great. So Michonne says that we are going to have a council meeting to decide their fate. And also another big thing is when the group did come back to Alexandria, Aaron, who has been taking care of Gracie this whole time, we see an older Gracie, and she says, hi, Daddy. So Aaron is a father. He is taking care of Gracie, which I thought was really awesome, really great. And Aaron also has a metal arm. He's got a metal, a Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, and he's surviving with one arm right now. So let's get into the council. The council was absolutely amazing. That was pulled straight from the comics as well. The council in the comics was basically Andrea in the comics, who was Rick's wife. did most of the interviews. Rick also did interviews on his own, but the council here is comprised of Michonne, Aaron, Sadiq, and they're asking them questions. They're asking them who they were before. And in the comic books, we don't know the Magna's group's past. We never got that information in the comics, but we heard some information from the show. Luke was a musician. Magna waited tables at a truck stop. Kelly was in high school, and Connie, she was kind of like a lawyer, so to speak, taking down politicians. Father Gabriel's asking, who are you now? And they don't really have many answers. They're just trying. Luke kind of gives a good analogy. Basically, look, we're breathing right now. And that's a luxury that not a lot of people can have. But Michonne is still very skeptical. So this is the point to where she exposes Magna for who she is. She sees that Magna has a tattoo on her left hand, which is a prison tattoo, which is 4 dots, and then 1 in the middle, which signifies prison walls, and then her in the middle. But then she asked Magna to put the blade on the table, and she had a hidden blade in her belt buckle. So Michonne is basically just saying, look, I don't trust these people. Go ahead and make your vote, but if you vote against, then I second that motion. So that was a really cool interaction with those guys. So the Father Gabriel, the new relationship is Father Gabriel and Rosita, of all people. We thought that we were possibly going to get Rosita and Eugene, who are they get together in the comic books, but Father Gabriel and Rosita are in a relationship, and they're basically talking about how Father Gabriel wants to, with Eugene wants to put an amplifier out there to try to contact more people through the radios. And as we know, as if you guys don't know, in the comic books, Eugene eventually reaches out and contacts somebody, and that is what we know as the Commonwealth. They get to go to the Commonwealth and find out that there's another community of 50,000 strong out there. So that was really cool. So Eugene and Rosita set out to place radio towers, go into a water tower to place radio amplifiers to boost their signal. So let's get to the kingdom really quick. We'll get with Carol. Carol, Henry is a lot, grown up, a lot bigger, and I think we're going to see some Carl aspects come out in him. But it's funny because Jerry refers to Carol as the queen because she married Ezekiel. It is known that they are married now, and even Carol's like, look, it's been years that you've been calling me this, and I'm still not accepting it, and I never will. Henry does call King Ezekiel his dad. And so there's a big mention here from the comics. They talk about a fair. So from the comics, the fair was a celebration of the communities, finally rebuilding themselves and having a big celebration to celebrate that. And the fair does come into play later on in the comics. It has to do with the Whisperers. We did get our scene with the Whisperers with Rosita and Eugene in the ditch. And from what I've heard, we are not going to see the Whisperers at all in this year for the remaining 2 episodes. So meaning we're not going to see the characters of Alpha, Lydia, and Beta. We're not going to see them. We're only going to see like little instances of them, and similar to the ditch, but we're not going to see them until after the midseason, which makes sense because they're going to build up to that. But so Carol and Henry go on a trip. They're basically going to the hilltop, and apparently they don't mention Maggie's name, but the hilltop, Rosita even mentioned about the hilltop, or Father Gabriel did, about how the hilltop's not doing very well since what happened. So we believe that Maggie has probably gone off, maybe with Georgie. We won't know that information. Not sure if they're going to dive into that, but we'll have to wait and see. So as Carol and Henry are going on their way to the hilltop, she wants to make a detour first because Henry notices that they missed their turn. So what do you know? We hear voices crying out. A woman's voice cries out, and Henry tries to go out and help her. And I can't remember her name. I forgot her name again, but she's one of the saviors, and they get surrounded by Jed's group. And they're looking pretty bad. They are looking like they haven't showered in months or years. They're getting, they're basically there to steal their supplies because Carol has supplies on there, and they're actually, because they don't have horses, they're using walkers to pull their wagons. So Jed basically says, "Look, you saved my life previously. All I'm going to do is take your supplies and let you live and we'll call it even. And so Carol's like, fine, whatever. And Jed sees the ring on her finger, and he's like, I'll take that ring too. And Henry tries to fight, but he can't. He can't do anything about it. He tries to fight him. He gets knocked down, but Carol says, here, take the ring, blah, blah, blah. So then later on at night, when Carol and Henry are, camped out, Henry's kind of pissed. He's kind of like, look, you always taught me to fight and stand up for what's right, and you didn't do anything. So he's kind of pissed off that Carol didn't do anything. And so then Carol makes the decision. She goes back at night where Jed and them are sleeping, pours gasoline all over the place, takes the match that Jed is always chewing on out of his mouth, and as she's standing there, she has it lit. Jed is pleading for his life. They're like, look, I swear to God, you'll never see us again. We'll leave you alone. And she's like, yep, I will. Lights the match, throws it on them. They all burn alive. Diabolical Carol steps back into play, guys. So as she's on the wagon with Henry notices that she got her ring back. And Henry doesn't say anything, but he knows, like, oh, she just went back there and got her ring back. And then we get to see Daryl. She makes a detour and asks if Daryl wants a ride, and I think maybe Daryl's going to be going up to the hilltop with them. So I thought that was pretty cool. So let's get back into some of the good stuff. So another big nod to the comics was Negan. So Negan had his first visitor, which is Judith. Judith is actually sitting outside on steps, and Negan is sitting on the window, or kind of out looking out of the window with the window bars or whatever, and she's going over mathematical problems. And this is kind of an ode to the comics. Carl went to go see Negan in the comic books. So Carl and Negan, he'd go down and see Negan, talk to Negan, have a good conversation in the comics. So this was pretty cool. It was kind of cute. Judith is going over these math problems, talking about, if one airplane left location A and one airplane left location B, and Negan's kind of like, have you ever seen an airplane? Do you think you ever will see an airplane? Let's stick to problems that, are real world right now. So it was actually a really, really good conversation, a really cool piece to see, Judith talking to Negan, knowing who he is, but still wanting to talk to him. So I thought that was really, really cool. Let's see. Oh, let's get into so Magna. So Magna is pretty pissed off that Michonne exposed her for who she is. So she actually wants to go there to kill her. And even Luke and Kelly, they know that she has Yumiko's cross, which has a hidden blade in it. And so they're all taking votes like, look, Magna's whole thing is, we don't want to go back outside. We don't want to be living out there. We want what they have. Why won't they let us stay here? And Luke and crew are kind of like, look, you can't. What are you going to try to do? Go try to hurt Michonne to prove your point, to get us to stay here? That's not going to do anything. It's just going to cause problems. So they all make a vote for Magna not to do anything, and she says fine. She gives up the hidden blade. But then she goes to Michonne's house, and she actually has another hidden blade. I think she saw where Luke put it in his pocket, and I think she probably, as he was sleeping, stole it from him. So she goes to Michonne's house, and Michonne is up, and she sees a young boy run into Michonne's arms, which is actually Michonne's son, RJ. And it kind of makes Magna have a change of heart, so she actually knocks on the door and gives up the blade, saying, you missed one, but she kind of just says, look, I've done things. I've done terrible things to survive. I'm a survivor. That's why I do things. And Michonne understands that. Michonne even says, we've all done things. We've all done bad things to survive, but, we have to make sure that we try to, not let it dwell on us too much. And this was the part that really, it was kind of a knife to the heart. So Judith is sitting up there, and she's wondering why Michonne won't, help these people out. And Michonne's kind of trying to say, well, you'll understand sometime. And this is the saddest thing about Judith. She says, look, that Dad would have approved them to stay, and that Carl would have too. But she says that I'm starting to forget their voices. She's starting to forget Rick and Carl's voices. She tells Michonne that she knows that Michonne talks to them sometimes because Judith overheard, Michonne talking to Rick. So, in the house, and Judith is kind of saying, I hope that you're still able to talk to them, because, the longer it goes, she's forgetting her dad and Carl's voice, which is actually really, really sad, guys. It's absolutely really sad. It almost made me cry. So yeah, those were the big things. Now, I'm not sure if you guys saw this. So Michonne, when she was actually putting on a shirt, there was a big X scar on her back left flank. Tell me if I'm wrong. I can't remember what that's from. Was that from when she was injured when she first met Rick at the prison? I'm trying to remember what that scar is from. So let me know in the comments if you guys remember what that scar is from, because I cannot remember if it was from when she was injured at the prison. That might be what it was from. So let me take a look here. I'm just looking at some notes. So we did that. Okay, so let's get into pretty much the closing of the episode, which so Eugene is up on the water tower placing the amplifiers, and Rosita's down below keeping track of how he's doing. So they get it set, and as they're coming down, there's a herd coming. So Eugene is getting off the water tower. The ladder that he got on fell off. He had to jump. He hurt his knee. So they're running off. And we get to the ditch scene, basically. Or just before that, Eugene was trying to tell Rosita, I'm slowing you down. I'll stay here. I'll try to lead them away. You go. But he was going to tell her something. And so this is kind of a nod to I think this is kind of also a nod to the comics that I guarantee you Eugene was about to tell Rosita how he felt about her. He was going to say that he's in love with her. But, that was, completely different from the comics. But I think that was probably what he was about to say. But Rosita says, don't make this weird. Let's go. So they jump into the ditch. They put the mud on. And we get the scene that we've already seen where they say, where are they? But we hear even more. They say, don't let them get away. So the Whisperers are here. The Whisperers are in that herd. And we got to hear them say, as normal, where are they? And they also say, don't let them get away. So, guys, an absolute amazing episode. So many nods to the comics. I just can't believe it that they put so much from the comics in this. One thing from the comics that did not happen, the break-in with Michonne and Magna, that was actually from the show. So Magna and her group in the comics, they break into Andrea's house demanding answers. They weren't going in there threatening, but they were demanding answers like, they wanted more information on Rick. They wanted to know why Negan is in his cell. And so Andrea tells them the information that they want to know, but they say, she says, don't be threatening to me. And then eventually, over time, Magna becomes, Magna's group and everyone becomes trustworthy, and Magna is with the group as we speak, as of today in the comics. So I thought that was really cool in the show of how they did that Magna was very enraged that, because Michonne exposed her, that she was going to go physically do something, which kind of sucks, but her end goal is that she wants to stay. She doesn't want to go back out there again. So in the end, as Magna's group they decided that Magna's group does have to leave. But Michonne comes in and says, look, there's another place I can take you, and I think the leader will allow you in there. So Michonne is actually taking Magna's group to the hilltop. And so since Maggie is no longer at the hilltop, Jesus would be the one in charge, and Jesus would definitely take them in. So this is going to be interesting in the next episode. It looks like we're going to be seeing the journey of Michonne. Michonne is going to be escorting Magna's group to the hilltop along with Sadiq. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts of this episode. If you have other questions regarding the comparisons with the comics, we can definitely answer those for you. So definitely send me your questions. I'll be doing the predictions video for the next episode. So if you want to send questions to me, I'll do a Q&A for those questions at the beginning of the predictions video for next episode. And any comic show comparison questions that you have, definitely let me know. So make sure you guys, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you always be notified when we're uploading content of The Walking Dead and more. Please follow us at NocBro Nation on Twitter and Facebook for any news and weird updates from us. And stay tuned for more videos for this week and our predictions video for The Walking Dead Episode 7, Stradivarius, which is also Michael Cutlass's directorial debut. It's going to be pretty sweet. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jarrell with NocBro Nation, and I'm out.